Hey, good morning. What's going on, everyone? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. So, we missed last week's bird dog breakdown. We were, um, all three of us, me, Monica, Ingrid, were at a real estate retreat in Scottsdale. So, we missed last week, but catching up this week, and we're at episode 7 now. So this is the bird dog breakdown. For those that don't know, we put this together for us to uh, talk through some of the deals that we've been getting in, the ones that we like, ones that we don't like, the do's and don'ts, things that we can do to help bird dogs understand how to send better deals that will have a higher likelihood of converting. And so I have some good stuff today, and I'd love to take any questions as well. And if you've sent a deal and you have not heard back yet, um, you will. Thank you for your patience on it. I've been texting some people, letting them know like we've gone through. We're going through a whole like rebuilding our system and process to go through this and be more effective and efficient with how we're taking on these deals. Just to pull back the curtain, right? It's there's a lot of deals that have been sent. It's awesome to see the amount of deals. So naturally, when you're putting yourself out there and saying you want to get some deals set in, you get your funnels built out, you have everything in there, and you get a lot of traction, a lot of deals being sent. There is some tweaking that we have to do on the fly to our systems and our process. So that's what I've been working on since actually I started while I was at the real estate retreat. I stayed in my room for a few hours building out the new pipeline and new system for us to be able to get through these deals. I have 2 hours this afternoon that I'm actually going to be underwriting a lot of these deals that have been sent. Some of you have already been texting about deals. So we have some good ones in the pipeline. I wanted to share something. Yesterday, I was on a call for an hour with a couple of bird dogs from not Florida, from Canada, and I forget where Sean is from. Is he Canada too? I don't know if Sean's on, but hey, morning, Richard. So I was on a call for an hour with them. Really great deal. What was great about it is what the bird dog provided, the information that he provided. He knew this deal inside and out, and it's an off-market deal, right? Which is even better. He went around and was finding different parks. He found the number, called the seller's interested, and he got a lot of information. There's still some follow-up questions, but by far, so I want to share it with you all because I think this is such a great way. Like I said, I was on the phone with it for an hour going through this deal, and it was because of how much information he knew and what he presented in front of us on in a document, very nicely drawn out. That's what I'm going to pull up in front of you. I redacted a lot of the information just because. So our plan is to put an offer in this weekend. We're just waiting for some follow up on some open questions that we have after looking at the P&L. So I'm going to pull up a few things actually, because I think this will be super helpful if you're a bird dog to understand some of the information that you can find out beforehand from the broker or the seller to present that to your end buyer, and it's going to make things move a lot quicker and make things a lot easier. Richard's really great at getting information as well from brokers and presenting that information back to us. At the end of the day, I built out a new tiered structure on how we compensate our bird dogs for the bird dog fee and for RV parks and mobile home parks. I set one up for fix and flips, but it needs to be adjusted. And so I'm actually going to publish that today. I have it all written out. I just need to put it in a format, and I'll share that today. And it just allows you to kind of see like the payouts based on tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 as a bird dog, right? and this is how I'm seeing it as a tier one. You're copying and pasting a deal, not giving us much information. At a minimum, we want the finance. Like, we can't even underwrite it if we don't have the financials. We need, ideally, preferably, the last 3 years of P&L, um, profit and loss, and then the T12s and the rent roll. And if they have an offering memorandum, cool. We'll take a look at that too. But that's what we'd like to have as a minimum, or actually preferably right from the get. At a minimum, though, if you could send us, the last year, or T12, or the last 2024 and year to date 2025 for a P&L, that's fine too, just to give us a good idea. But once you send that information, so it's a tier one bird dog, like, we still expect that to come in. But if you're just copying and pasting, that's a tier one. And if we end up getting that deal, it's not much of a payout. The tier two is, as a bird dog, is sending the deal, but picking up the phone and getting on with the broker or the seller to start the conversation, right? To find out more information than what we have in front of us. If it's off market, definitely, right? I expect that that has already happened. But if it's on Crexy or LoopNet or Facebook or somewhere where you found the deal, get on the phone with the broker or the wholesaler, whoever you see the deal, and to get more information than what's actually being listed there, right? Find out anything else that you can. And mainly, we want to understand the motivation of the seller. Why are they selling? And are they open to seller financing? Do they have any debt already? Is that debt maybe assumable, or are they open to any type of seller financing if they have equity, or if they own it free and clear? Us knowing that information helps us a lot. We don't have to just do creative on a mobile home or RV park, but it gives us options when we're presenting offers back. So knowing that at a minimum, and understanding why the seller is selling, that's very helpful information. How long have they owned it? Those little things there just gives us a good idea of what we're walking into. We want value add properties, right? If someone's owned it maybe 2 years and this thing is running optimally, and they're selling it at top dollar, right? And they're not open to seller carry, it's not a good deal for us. It's not something we're going to really pursue at this time, unless there's something has come up that they're very motivated to sell, and we can work out some type of creative solution. And then tier three is, this is the bird dog Dustin that sent this deal, and Sean and Dustin who I was on the phone with yesterday. This is a tier three bird dog for this deal. I'm going to share my screen. Yes. Let me make sure I don't have anything else that will. Okay, cool. I'll wait for it to pop up. All right. Okay, this is what the bird dog sent. Dustin, I'll stop calling him the bird dog. Dustin sent this. I redacted the information. So the current owner has owned it for 10 years, right? And this is 42 RV spaces. One is actually owner occupied. There's an apartment as well. It's a long-term rental. This is a well-run park. When I first looked at this, I'm trying to understand where the value add opportunity is, right? But before I get there, just look at the amount of information. This was typed up by Dustin. He went and did the research. He asked all the questions. He put this together. What are the amenities? What's the location? How close is it to certain metro areas or major cities? What's the competition look like? He pulled the comps and what the rates look like. That's super helpful. And it actually allowed us to understand that this park is priced higher than the competitors And so, I mean, there's not much room to increase rents, right? But there's other ways for us to improve the NOI, the net operating income. There's an existing debt in place. So one of the questions that I had was, uh, is the seller open to allowing us to take over the payments, or is it assumable even, right? Like we can assume this loan. It's a good loan, 6%. Now, if they're not open to that, then we can come in and pay off the 455. Oh, I'm still in redact mode. Pay the 455, and the seller. This is what I really appreciated from what Dustin pulled together. He gave some quotes from his conversation, even with the seller, right? Like if the seller, again, this is off market deal. She said, if I got $2 million, I'd sell it today, right? Now, based on the NOI, is around, it's like 150, 160,000. And so at $2 million, right? If you do the math here, 160,000 NOI divided by a $2 million price, that's an 8 cap, right? 8% cap rate. We want to buy in like the 9, 10%. So our price would be around the 1.55 million. Dustin did all this work and research and understanding of this, right? Again, like these are basic questions that we start to ask right when we're getting all the information. You don't need to do this, but it allows us to move a lot quicker and understand, like, yes, like let's jump on this. Let's jump on a Zoom. Let's talk through this. And like I said, I spent an hour talking through this deal last night, because of just the amount of information here. I was like, we can truly move forward. And I wanted to understand more context too behind it. But yeah, so it should be priced around 1.55 million is what we would want it at. But because she's open to seller carry, if we can pay the 455, she doesn't care to get any money at closing, right? She is okay taking zero at closing. We can just pay off the mortgage, and then she'll seller carry the remaining, because she's being paid above what it's actually worth, which is fine. But it would be great if we could assume the loan. But we're working through that now. And I have a list of questions that I sent to Dustin based on what I saw in the P&L and some other open questions too, because they have coin laundry, they have propane. But on the P&L, I'll show the P&L in a second. On the P&L though, you can see that there's just one line item for revenue or income, but it doesn't break it down. Like, how much are we making off the laundry facilities? How much are we making from the propane? How many of these are long-term versus short-term or weekly rents? And that we're waiting for on Monday. We're getting the T12 and the rent roll. But Dustin sent, so if we think about from a bird dog, Dustin called the seller, got all the basic information, did the research to pull some of the comps in the area, had a conversation about price and terms and would they be open to seller carry, which, check that box. Then he found out what's their reason for selling. She has a new venture. She's looking to transition out of the RV park space. She's already got money lined up for the new venture, so she doesn't need cash from the sale up front. She said it'd be nice to have $500K down. But she just really wants to make sure she covers that existing mortgage and pays it off. That's awesome. Like, to be able to find that much information out just really helps us when we submit an offer. It gives us an understanding of how she's going to take that, the seller, the owner. Monthly sites always full year round, daily and weekly slower. There's a wait list, the owner said, so that's good. Means we can increase prices. So I'm waiting to see what the leases look like for the the longer term stays, or whether or not we can start to raise the prices, maybe to, instead of 700 a month, we can raise it to 750 a month, and we'll still be able to fill the park, right? Especially if there is a wait list. Tenant mix, mostly professionals, nurses. Some have been there 10 years. Really, it's just these little details is so helpful for us to understand. And then park owned RVs, there are none. Um, Owner has a 10-year RV age limit. There's management and staff. One was just left in October this month. But you can kind of get us a good idea of the situation there. Here's their current rates. Here's the market details. There's a golf course nearby, restaurants, hotels, and it's not in a flood zone. Honestly, this is perfect. So what I talked with Dustin, right, is if we get this deal under contract, then now he has to wedge into the deal, right? He wants to be part of that deal. So I said that like, we're gonna work out what that structure looks like, but yeah, he's gonna wedge into the deal. And the idea too would be, we can pay an acquisition fee and wedge you into the deal, or we can just wedge you into the deal and you make a percentage. You have a percentage ownership, and we'll figure out like percentage equity, percentage of cash flow, and the depreciation, all that details. But he really wants to learn and be part of the deal and get the credibility of having a park under his belt, and so that he can go and start to buy his own and have that credibility, which is really what everybody should be doing as a bird dog, right? It's good to make some money up front, but if there's an opportunity to wedge into the deal, I have no problem with him wedging into the deal based on the amount of information and just having a conversation with him. It'd be great to have him as part of an active member on the team. All right. So this is super. I just wanted to show this because this is exactly the amount of detail that, what's good about this too is, if you're a bird dog and you're going and finding all this information, it's going to make you better at having those conversations, getting those details, figuring out how to ask your question to get as much information and extract as much info as you can, so that you really understand the motivation, you understand their willingness to, or their openness to doing creative, and just all these other details, right? And some of these things you might not know to ask, but this is why I'm showing it here, right? A lot of these things it's very helpful that we're looking through, and when we're underwriting deals. So hopefully this is super helpful for everybody that's watching. Again, you can still just copy and paste the Crexy link. It'll take longer for us to get to. I highly recommend at least picking up the phone, calling the broker or the seller, having a conversation, and trying to get some basic information around, why are they selling? Is there any details about the property that might not be on Crexy or LoopNet? And is the seller open? Do they have debt in place? And is the seller open to doing any type of seller finance? If you can pick up the phone and have those conversations, it can help make things a lot smoother. And then, of course, sending those financials along with the submission. All right, let me figure out how to get back into this. Okay, cool. All right, awesome. Thanks, Richard. Anybody have any questions on that? I want to make sure anything that doesn't make sense, or I went too fast over, or that you might find helpful as a bird dog in looking at that document, or any other questions at all. Okay. What was the other thing? Okay. Oh, let me pull this up too. Make sure that you all can see all right, cool. So this is the P&L that they sent. that Dustin sent, and it's the last 3 years, right? This is perfect. Now we are waiting for year to date 2025, but that's okay. I outlined some things that I want to understand more from the seller, and I ended up sending a list of questions back. But when we're looking at this, you can see the income has gone up, the sales has gone up every single year, right? And hey, hey, fabulous. Okay, I'll get to your bids. How are the bids work? Can you explain a little bit more on what you mean by that for Crexy? Fabulous. Ivan, I'm glad you could join. Is that Rakesh? RK? Okay, so going through this, the income has gone up every single year, and the expenses. What's interesting is the bank charges have gone up significantly, like $7,000 every year. So I asked, is that like credit card processing fees? I mean, it's pretty high. It's like 5% of the revenue. So I'm trying to figure out why it's so high. And again, it's just cutting into the expenses. Another thing to call out, like interest expense, that should not be in the expenses. It's not part of, that's part of the debt service. That should not be part of the operating expenses. That's not an operating expense, right? That should go down here. Really remember, this net operating income is what we care about. This is what parks, RV parks, mobile home parks, commercial assets are valued off of. You take the net operating income, you divide it by the asking price or the purchase price, and you understand what that park is, the cap rate for that park. It's also helpful when you understand what the market cap rate is, right? Which typically it's like 8 to 10% for the RV park, mobile home park space, but it differs across markets. But if you were to take what the market cap rate is and you take that NOI divided by that market cap rate, then you get the purchase price that should be like what the park should be priced at based on the market cap rate. So I don't know if everybody caught that, right? So let's say, remember I was saying that right now the park is at a 8% cap rate based on what the price. Don't look at this 116 because you have to remove this interest expense because that should not be in the operating expenses. If you do, let's do 116, 247. Maybe I should get the calculator out instead of doing it in my search bar here. Okay. So if we get the 116, 247 plus add back in that interest expense, 25,722. So it's actually 141,969. Right. So that's the NOI. I'm not going to normalize this yet, but that's one thing that you can do, right? And when you start to see some of these like meals in business, auto and travel expense, like that's a big expense. I think I know what that is. The owner putting this towards the business. I could be wrong, but that's one of my questions, is to help me understand what the auto and travel is. But again, cutting that expense, because their expense ratio right now, if you do the 141,969 divided by I'm looking at 2024, right? So I'm looking just in the last year here, but divided by 359, 159, which is the income. Oh, sorry, not the CapEx. Sorry about that. Hold on. 242 is the expense. And I'm going to subtract out that interest expense, 25,722. Okay, so expenses are actually 217,190. Divide that by the income, 359,159. You're at a 60% expense ratio. We underwrite for an RV park to a 50% expense ratio. So there's a 10% gap here that we know we can improve, right? So in that, we'll be able to remove some of these expenses, get this down to 50%. If we were to underwrite it to 50%, if we take the 359, 159 times 50%. So the NOI could get to around 180, right? When we optimize and we run this park more efficiently, effective, we can get this thing to 180. And so, can I put, yeah, in 30 minutes. So it's my son. So 179 is the NOI, the net operating income that we would underwrite to. But right now they're at a 60% expense ratio, which is, like I said, that 116, 247. And I'm going to add back in the interest expense that should not be there. And with this number, this NOI number that the park currently has, let's say the market cap rate is 9%. You divide that by 0.09. That means the park should be valued at $1,577,000. So 1.5, she wants 2 million, right? We would present two offers. One at this price, make sure her loan is covered, or we can do the higher price point and 1.7, maybe 1.8, give her some interest. It'll go, basically she'll make more than 2 million on this over time and seller carry, probably do a balloon in like 5 to 7 years. But that's what we're going to end up offering on this park. But did anyone, so what I'm doing here is I'm looking to see, okay, based on the net operating income today, let me see the P&L to see if there's any red flags. Let me see if there's any expenses that we know we could cut. Also, what's not here is management. So we'll actually have to add that in. But again, we underwrite to 50% expense ratio. That is what we can improve the park to, right? That's when we stabilize the park. But from buying it, we're going to buy it based off of what it's doing today. And it allows us to have that conversation with the seller and say, hey, today you're only making 141,000 net. The net operating income is 141,000, which at a 9% market cap rate, it puts you at 1.57 million, not 2 million. And so it allows us to have that conversation so that when we do go, we're letting her know what it's actually worth based on the market. When we go above that and structure a seller carry, it just makes that conversation a lot easier. Any questions here on the P&L? And these ones that I highlighted, again, like these are things I have questions. I also know the ones that we're going to eliminate. And then I know things that we're going to have to add back in. The management fee, management, adding that in. Utilities has gone up every year pretty significantly. So I asked for details around that as well. And then repairs and maintenance, right? 7, it jumped up to 16, then down to 9. Usually that's just like a one-time expense that you would normalize. You would take that out because that's not a recurring operating expense. So I asked for details on what was done in 2023. And I think that's it. Oh, and details around the contract labor, what exactly that entails, who is contracted, what were they doing, all that. Maybe that is management, but I'm curious what the breakdown is. All right. Cool. Hopefully that was helpful as well on how we're looking at this. Okay, let me remove my screen and answer some questions. All right. Okay. Rakesh, for the, and then I'll get to your question, Fabulous. Rakesh, so let me put this up. All right. So for an auction, RV park, mobile home park, whatever the case is, right? If they require bidders to be registered, um, I'm happy to register. The proof of funds. So I'd be curious, who did you talk with on this? You talked with the broker or like the county? I'm guessing it's for auctions to the county. So I'd be curious if they would take an intent to fund, basically like an approval letter that we can cover those funds. That should be fine. But if there's a contact, Rakesh, just send over the contact and we can jump on a call with them and figure it out. It might be a conversation thing, or maybe they're just blocking you right at the website that you found the deal at. But you could text me a bit more of the information too. I know we're texting back and forth. Fabulous. Okay. All right. So around Crexy, I'm trying to understand if we can still move forward with the deal, even though we don't know the final price yet. Does that make sense? Yes. So is there a number that you can call? Is there, for those deals, is there somebody that you can contact and talk with, Fabulous? Can you get on with the broker? Is it listed like that with the broker? Because if so, I recommend that. Jumping on and asking that question, right? Like you can, I always like to play like I don't know a lot, and the broker can educate me. It's a strategy you can use of just okay, perfect. You left a message. That's perfect. Um, I I would wait till you get that response back. I would move on to finding other parks, um, which I want to talk through too, like some different ways, and maybe you guys have some cool ways of finding parks as well. Um, okay, cool. Yeah, I would. You left a message. I would follow up if she doesn't uh, call you back, but you could also, if her email's there, or look up her email. Um, Type in, what I used to do is type in the broker's name, type in her phone number, and then just put like type email in Google and see if her email is available. And I would email her as well. Oh, okay, nice. How many acres is the land? Okay, so real quick, I actually wanted to talk through, because I was talking with a someone that is new to bird dogging, and okay. Oh, nice. Okay, so it's like Alabama. Okay, so it's like Gulf Shores. Yeah, super popular area. Um, can you send that one? I'm interested to look at that. We're not doing like, it depends on the infrastructure. If the infrastructure is there, and or if it's just zoned for an RV park, or like is it just raw land that it still needs to be the infrastructure, everything needs to be set up, or did they start that and now they have to sell it? Because we're not, right now, we're not just like taking land and building out RV parks. We're trying to find ones that are already exist and that we can take over. It's a lot of work to do that. However, I do know some people that would do that. And if there's a possibility for us to, it's by the beach, so maybe it's more for travelers. But I coming back from that real estate retreat, I had a lot of great conversations because we have some land that we're getting under contract that we might put up some affordable housing on there because now I met some amazing people who are in sub two, um, that do ground up construction, and they have contacts for modular homes, tiny homes, container homes. So there's always opportunities for that. Even if I'm not doing that directly, I would partner with somebody that does it. And I know some people in Owners Club that will do it. So I'm happy to point you in the right direction. Fabulous. Oh, perfect. Sweet. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Cool. Real quick, I wanted to just touch on the how everyone's finding deals. Like I had um a conversation with somebody yesterday that that wants to bird dog, and he was not sure like the best approach on finding deals. And so you have your Cruxies and your loop nets, and honestly, like there you can find deals. Most of those have already been reviewed by so many people, but it doesn't matter because my buy box is different than a lot of other people. Like a lot of people might pass it up because they didn't see, um it didn't meet their minimum pad count or site count, or because mine's 35 right now, right? And I actually had a really good conversation with Patrick Bassan, who, if anyone knows him, him and Michelle own like multiple RV resorts, and I think a marina now. They are absolutely crushing it. They're an owners club as well. I had a great conversation with him, Patrick, on the underwriting. We got to nerd out on underwriting at lunch on Sunday, and then we met again Tuesday, and I got a lot of good info from him. Um, and stuff, and something that I'm going to be implementing too into my buy box to help. I am in the works of doing that now, but just adding a bit more detail around the net operating income. Um, and again, just to give you all more information, I don't want to stop parks from being sent. Um, Still, you can send them, but it just helps when you know it checks off a lot of these other boxes that I'm already going to be looking through, similar to what I showed you that Dustin did earlier on that whole PDF document. It When he asked a lot of the questions that I needed answers to around, flood zone, is there a value add? What's the motivation? Are they open to seller carry? That information, but I also the NOI, the net operating income is something that we want to be mindful of as well. And I'm going to have some different submission. I want to try a different submission form. We'll see how it goes. I don't want to put too many people through answering a ton of questions in order to submit a deal. But I do think from a streamline, like the systems and process, right? A lot of you guys have been very patient on us underwriting deals. I really appreciate that. I'm wondering if we ask more questions up front to get you to input that information, uh, if like I know it'll help faster because then we have the numbers put into like it'll cause you to have to go through and find the financials and look up some information and numbers. um I can make them optional, but if you input that information, the more information you put, the faster we can get through the deals. I guess I should say it like that. It's not required. I'll still have the required fields that we do have today, but I'm gonna add some more fields that you guys can input in, that like by doing that, it just allows us to move faster because we don't have to open up all the PDFs, go through, look through, dig through that stuff. That would be, again, that's how you kind of get into that tier 2, tier 3 bird dog if you start to learn how to look through that. And if you don't know, if you're like, I am leaving it blank because I don't know, let me know in the comments or text me, and because I want to make sure that I show you how to do it, because it's going to make you a better investor, better bird dog, so you understand exactly what I'm looking for and how I usually go about finding it, and it'll just help you. So, um, if I see that that information is not inputted, I also might create an automation. I'm actually going to do that. Create an automation too to say like, hey, why not fill this information out if you need help. If you need help figuring out where that information is, the NOI, right, or the income, or the total expenses, uh, purchase price. That one's easy. Everybody knows how to find that one. Pad count, site count, all that information. If I see any of that blank, I'll just have my system send an email showing you exactly how to find that, so that next time, you know, the more information you submit, the faster we'll be able to get through the deals. I guess that at the end of the day, that's what I'm trying to. I want to make sure of that we are not holding up, because we've had a lot of hold up on the deals. Again, I appreciate everybody's patience. Um, we're working through it, and I think being able to actually implement that type of thing into our system will help. We might get less submissions because people might get a little lazy, but that's okay. I'm just writing it down. Um, all right. Let's see. Oh, finding deals. If okay, so you have Crexy, you have LoopNet. There's some other websites as well. Uh, hey, Michael. Oh, yeah. So no, we still focus on. So I focus on underwriting the RV parks and mobile home parks. So my wife is an agent down here in South Florida. So I am going to remove the Maricopa County ones. So Ingryd on her website, ingridhernandez.com, we have a system built out to where if you send in a fix and flip through her site for Maricopa County, um, she has somebody that's underwriting those deals specifically, and you'll get feedback on that. If you're sending one on Florida, my wife will take a look at those, Kristen, and she's an agent here, so she is helping to do that on the fix and flip side. The reason why I talk about RV parks and mobile home parks so much is because I'm the one underwriting these deals and looking through those, and it is something that I am very I guess, yeah, I'm very focused on right now, but fix and flips are still a focus. They just don't go directly to me. Like Kristen will underwrite those. And so please still send them. Yeah, we're looking to do fix and flips in South Florida. Oh, I was looking for them on my site. Fabulous. I I knew it. Was it through? Oh, you emailed them. Okay, okay. And I don't think I have my automation built out. When you send it to deals at bettereverydayservices.com, now it creates a brand new opportunity as soon as anybody sends it. Um, no, don't go enter them through the site. You don't have to do that. But if you could forward those emails to deals at bettereverydayservices.com. And then that way the opportunity and everything gets automatically created. That would be very helpful. Uh, I don't blame you if you don't do it, because I know you've been sitting on those. So either way, so I have 2 hours blocked this afternoon to go through our mobile homes and RV parks, and then I'm going to make some updates to the buy box submission to start to gather more information from you all when you're sending in the deals. Okay. Um, Yeah, Richard, good question. Yeah, at first I was having them come to me so that I can funnel them to Ingrid, um, because she works that market and I work with her. But her funnel is the perfect place to put those. Yeah. IngridHernandez.com. Let me put it up here. Good question. Thank you. I'm going to remove it from my buy box, just because now the way our systems, I built the systems for both, for like Ingrid and myself and Monica, and how deals are flowing in. But now we're going to have a collective place where, depending on what deal it is, it's going to get funneled to the right person. Yes, I will do that. Let me do this. Here's all of our buy boxes. Monica's buybox.com, Bobby's buybox.com, IngridHernandez.com. Okay. And then where you can send the deals at, it's also on my website. I'm going to put it here. Deals at bettereverydayservices.com. Okay, cool. Anything else? Does anybody else have anything? Let me see. Oh, cool. Michael is, hey, morning, Don. I already said morning. Raw land. Is it, do you know what the zoning is for it? Is it commercial zoned or residential? Don, any deals go through? No. No deals, I believe. I know there's some that we have offers out. I'm not sure if it's part of the August challenge. There are deals that we have offers out on that we are just now doing follow-up, having conversations, trying to come to terms. We actually have like 5 sent out right now. Yeah, Michael, if it's commercial zoned, I'm interested in it. So what I want to do with the land, again, I might know somebody that will build on that land, right? If it's residential or commercial, I will probably forward it to the right person, or if you go to the Owners Club buy box information, you can send it to me too, and I'll forward it to the right person and get you in contact with the right person if it's not for me. However, I am looking for commercial zoned land specifically for car washes, right? Which I have in my buy box. I am looking for land, ideally South Florida, and at least half an acre, no more than $1 million purchase price. I just got these details in too because we're building out these car washes across the nation now, right? As a community, we're doing that within Owners Club, within Zero Down community. So I want one in my backyard, like here in Broward County, Palm Beach County, Dade County. I'm going to update the buy box because I just got some information that will help really dial in exactly the type of land that we're looking for, which will make it a lot easier, especially if you're using AI or some type of the ChatGPT agent or something to go and do research and pull records for you of the land that is commercial zone or zoned for the car washes. And you'd have to skip trace the owner, but give them a call, see if they're open to seller carry, see if they're willing to sell. There's a certain traffic count. Again, you can use Perplexity AI. You can use AI to understand the traffic volume, median household income, those types of things. I'm going to put all the details in that buy box. Again, these are takeaways that I've had even just from the last weekend of that real estate retreat that I'm going to start to implement in to that buy box. But I do have one already there. It's just more general. I'm going to have a lot more specifics on that buy box now for land. Could you post the questions you want me to ask? Oh, yeah. Okay. Cool. I like it. I like that. Good idea. Let's see. For everybody, the question is, could you post the questions you want me to ask about the RV land when you're talking with brokers or seller? So one of the questions, let me pull up mark down here. File new. And I'll share my screen. I'm already sharing it. Cool. All right. Let's go through some of the questions that you would ask. All right. Not in any particular order either, right? Do you have last 3 years financials, P&L, and you can also get the T12 and rent roll and the OM or offering memorandum. A lot of times it's there on Crexi or LoopNet, but sometimes it's not. So you're calling to build rapport with the broker and or the seller to let them know that you have a buyer, or call me a partner, whatever you want to do. And a lot of times too, it's good because you can set up appointments for us to make calls too on those. But once you get this information, right, do you have the last 3 years of financials? That's what you're going to need to submit to us anyways. That's what we want. The other question is, why is the seller selling? I wouldn't ask this directly. Figure out the best way to ask that. You can ask this. I find brokers in the commercial, like brokers in this commercial space, they don't really mind that question. When you're dealing with agents in single family homes, sometimes they can get a little snippy of like, it doesn't matter. Why does it matter? And so I've found ways to ask that question differently for single family home. For mobile home RV parks, I think they're much more straightforward to the point. And so you could ask, why is the seller selling? And basically you're trying to find the motivation. What's the condition of the property in general, right? Is there like a lot of deferred maintenance? Is there any information that would be helpful for me to know that's not currently displayed on the listing? just to get a little bit more. Is the seller open? Does the seller, actually, I would ask like this: is the seller open to seller financing? Do they have debt? Or is it owned free and clear? Let's see. Where's the value add opportunities? Or what is the value add opportunities? What are the value add opportunities? Let me think. Anything else? Let's see the comments here. Yeah, I think that's good to start having the conversations. Let me see, because this is a lot of good details. I would ask, like, if it's a RV park, RVP. If it's RVP, what's the tenant mix? Like monthly, weekly, daily. Oh, I love the question of like, so why is the seller selling? I would also add like, how long has the seller owned the property? Some of this you could find out on your own too, but again, you're just building rapport, having conversation. They get a lot of blind offers, right? Think about it. They're getting blind offers too. So whatever you can do to stand out and feel like you are competent and understand, uh, and you're trying to ask these questions and be diligent because you're a serious buyer, you have a serious buyer. That's great. Okay, I think that's good because I know we're about at time. Yeah. Hopefully these questions are good. What I'll do is I'm going to post these questions in the comments of the YouTube. Oh, sorry about that. It's small. But I will post them too. Okay. I don't even know if it'll post. It didn't do, that's not great. It did it in multiple comments. I'll make sure to put it in the comments of the video. All right, let me stop sharing. Let me answer one more question, and then I'll let everybody get back to their Friday. Michael said, all right, oh, Rakesh, for single family fix and flip in South Florida, I receive leads from wholesalers. What questions would be helpful for your wife to underwrite those properties? How old's the roof? How old's the AC? How's the plumbing? Those are questions that sometimes aren't readily available. People like wholesalers won't say that. I find myself asking that the most. It's like, how old's the AC? How old's the roof? What's the plumbing? How's the plumbing? Any other issues? I love the open-ended questions. Like, is there anything else that I should know about the property that maybe you haven't listed here? I was just looking at Florida. Michael, what do you mean? What's the best way to reach her for feedback? Oh, my wife. Okay, got it. That is part of those system that I'm building out, right? So I built this out for Ingryd. I got to build it out for myself. Is when we move the deal in our pipeline, you get an automatic email getting an update, whether it's declined and you'll get the feedback, or it's moved on to the next stage and you'll get that as well, that update. That is something I don't have in place. So my wife will go through and underwrite them and will let me know like yay or nay. But she doesn't go into the CRM a lot. I'm really, though, she's getting the updates via email. So she's going and doing her thing. And I know if I have that deal, if there's something I like about that, or we need to come back at a counter price, that's when I'll reach back out typically. So I know if you don't hear anything, Kristen's on top of those fix and flips. So if you don't hear anything, it's most likely because it's just not something we're going to pursue. But we're going to fix this out in the CRM where you're going to get feedback automated. $10.27, $10.30. Okay, cool. Mike, forgive me, but Michael, do you have my phone number? Email me or message me on Instagram at Bobby Souza, so we can talk through meeting up. Also, there might be a meetup there here while you're down. I got to check those dates. Okay, cool. All right. That time flew by. Thank you all. Thanks everyone for joining. Thank you for the feedback and all the questions. I love jumping in on this stuff and sharing this with you. Hopefully that's very helpful for you all, and just what the really great information that we've been receiving. Thank you all for sending your deals. We're going to catch up with all these, and we're going to have a system and process in place that will allow us to move through them a lot more effectively, efficiently. Thank you all. And feel free to message me on Instagram if you don't have my phone number, at Bobby Souza. And I appreciate you all. Thank you. Have a good Friday.